We decided to do our marketing plan for Emmanuel's Educational Foundation and Sports Academy. Our focus for the marketing plan is around educating people in Ghana with disabilities as well as the Ghanaian community. Because none of us knew a whole lot about the Ghanaian culture, we thought it would be a good idea to do some basic research on the country. We figured this would help us determine what we could do for the facility. Here's what we found. The population of Ghana is about 24.5 million people, ranked 48th in the world. The major religion in Ghana is Christianity, followed by Muslim and traditional. Most people in Ghana fall in the 14 to 64 years age range, which is 60%, with less than 4% reaching the age of 65. The life expectancy in Ghana is only 61.5 years, which is almost 20 years younger than the United States, at 78.5 years. The literacy rate is defined as those 15 and older who can read and write. The literacy rate in Ghana is 67.3%, compared to 99% in the United States. Comparing these statistics to the United States gives us a good idea of how different life in Ghana is. Another statistic that gives a good picture of health care in Ghana is the amount of hospital beds and physicians. For every 1,000 people in Ghana, there is only 0.93 hospital beds, compared to 3.1 beds per 1,000 people in the United States. The physician rate is even more shocking, with only 0.085 physicians for every 1,000 people. The United States has 2.672 per 1,000 people. For Ghana, that is about one physician for every 12,000 people. However, there is a huge discrepancy between this number and the amount of people with disabilities and diseases. From watching Emmanuel's Dream video, we learned that 1 out of every 10 people in Ghana are born with a disability. On top of this disability rate, there are also many diseases that are prevalent in Ghana. Some of the major diseases are malaria, typhoid, hepatitis A, and H5N1.
So we looked at disability in Ghana. The most prevalent disabilities are those related to visual impairment, hearing impairment, and physical disabilities, and those are the 3 most prevalent types of disabilities in Ghana. The disability rate is the same for males and females. The rate is higher in rural areas than in urban areas. The rate is lowest in the 0 to 5 years age group and highest for persons who are 50 years of age or older. And the World Health Organization estimates the disability rate in Ghana to be between 7 and 10%, which equates 1.55 to 2.2 million people. The typical client: disabled individuals are not typically accepted by the general population in Ghana. These individuals are often considered second-class, unproductive, incapable of being positive contributors to society, and are seen as an economic burden not just on society but their families as well. In developing countries, including Ghana, disabled individuals are the poorest of the poor and are living in impoverished conditions. They often do not have access to public health, education, and other social services, and they are weakly represented in civil society. Because of this weak representation, there typically is not a strong population advocating for the disabled population, and their voices go unheard. Out of the individuals with disabilities who are employed in Ghana, very few individuals are aware of their rights as employees, and few use the systems in place. People with disabilities in Ghana receive 48 cedis every 3 months, which is less than $50 US, if they even receive government services at all. It is also important to mention there is a high prevalence of HIV and AIDS in Ghana, with 260,000 people living with the disease and 18,000 deaths each year caused by the disease, ranking Ghana as the 23rd country by comparison to the world for people living with the disease, and as the 16th country for death caused by HIV and AIDS.
The facility proposed to be constructed is sponsored by Emmanuel's Dream Foundation, partnering with the Young Dreamers Network in California. Emmanuel's dream was founded by Emmanuel Afosu Yeboah, who requested a bike from a grant company to disprove the stigma of handicapped individuals in Ghana not being able to do anything. Emmanuel was born with a lower leg deformity, but he was not born with a lack of ambition. He continued to compete athletically biking and came to the U.S. He caught the attention of certain people who provided him with an amputation surgery of his deformed leg and the purchase and rehabilitation of a prosthetic. After such a noble journey, he was invited to the King's Palace, where he was awarded the Desabre Award of Excellence, which initiated his vision to develop a school for the disabled in Korofuda. He also awarded 15 students scholarships to attend the school when it's completed. The school will begin construction in the summer of 2013 with plans to build a 2-story floor building, which will include classrooms, an adaptive therapy center, and a sports facility with athletic fields and paved courts. The facility will hold 100 kindergarten through 8th grade students, which will be a mixture of disabled students and disadvantaged students to prevent stigmatization, discrimination, and separation in the classroom. All designers, workers during construction, and teachers will be a mix of disabled and disadvantaged employees as well. The facility will provide many opportunities for children and adults in the community to change the view of disabilities in Ghana.
The purpose of this program is to provide education to the students at the facility as well as others in the community who have disabilities. Having a disability in Ghana in the past was considered a death sentence for many. Instead of being considered second-class citizens, we will give them the skills and confidence they need to be active members in the Ghanaian community. This program is designed to teach individuals with disabilities how to overcome their difficulties in day-to-day living and be able to fully function in society. Here are some of our ideas for programs at the facility. Educating students at the facility would be a major role. It is important for them to learn how to advocate for themselves and other people who have disabilities in Ghana. With this skill, they will be able to help themselves more and get the word out to the general public that having a disability does not make them second-class citizens. This could also help them spread the word for equal rights and the recently passed disability bill in Ghana. We could also provide specific vocational training relevant to the Ghanaian culture, including sewing, basket weaving, agricultural skills, fair trade skills, assembly line work, and cocoa harvesting, which accounts for 1/4 of the GDP in Ghana and employs more than half of the people living there. The education factor would also involve educating students about their rights in the workplace, access to public health and other services, and the basics of running a small business. Teaching students with physical disabilities compensatory strategies is also important for them to use in daily life and employment. Since visual and hearing impairments are two of the biggest disabilities in Ghana, we would also provide specialized training for those disabilities.